New day, new videos. I just have a lot to say. Being forced to take a week off because of moving and not having an internet connection has left a lot of frustration bottled up inside of me. Like this bitchin' new shirt. I like it. Got it from Menards. Made in Mexico. I once heard an argument that things were screwed up in the U.S. if you couldn't buy a work boot that was made in the U.S. Well, things are pretty screwed up if you're buying patriotic t-shirts that are not made in the U.S. But I wanted to talk about suggestion, an article that Thinkprogress.org posted. And let me just see what this thing is called. This is the most important reform Ferguson can enact to give its black residents a voice. That's the name of the article, by Ian Millhiser. And what Mr. Millhiser said was that even though the population of Ferguson is 70% black, they're not voting for local elections, and because of this, almost all the city councilmen are white, and whites vote almost three times as often in elections, with 17% of the white electorate voting, whereas only 6% of the black electorate are voting. And he said that it needs to be made easier to vote. How much easier does it have to be made to vote? I'm sorry, this really doesn't make any sense. All you have to do is prove you are a legal resident, and in many states, all you need is a declaration of domicile. You don't need even proof of your citizenship. Unless that law has changed. It was my experience in the past. You don't need photo ID to vote. It's absolutely insane how casually we look upon voting in this country. Not only do people not do it that often, which is fine by me. If you are a low information voter, if you do not understand the issues, if you have not done even the tiniest bit of research and you're just going to vote party line, and I don't even care which party line we are talking about, if you are not going to do any research on any issue, then I don't care if you vote or not. In fact, I would prefer you don't vote, because you are not taking an active role in politics. Now, I've always been a firm believer that if you don't vote, you don't have a right to bitch. But since I make a lot of noise, and I've made a lot of noise for a long time, I decided I needed to take it to the higher level. So from the federal election in 2010 until the federal election in 2012, which I believe was a grand total of 8 elections, counting all local elections, I was an election judge in the county I reside in. The only reason why I haven't been an election judge since is I decided that I needed to take a more active role in the party. I still vote at every election. I still do my research before I vote. I do not follow party lines. I do not feel the need or urge to vote on every single potential option I have. And yes, I do tend to lean towards party lines because I don't trust a single Democrat. If there is only a Democrat, which is quite common in the liberal hellhole I live in, if there's only a Democrat there, I won't vote for them. In fact, I'll go ahead and write in a candidate underneath their name because there's usually a write-in space. I'll write in a candidate, even if it's just me. I'll write in some of this. I'll write in Charlie Brown. I'll write in Mickey Mouse. I'll write in anything because anything is better than a Democrat because I do not trust them at all. But that also doesn't mean I vote for every Republican because there are many Republicans I do not trust. But I fail to see how much easier we have to make it. Because the only thing it will make easier is for the parties to arrange false ballots, stuffing the ballot boxes. That's the only result I see in extending the voting time and making it easier to vote. The only group of individuals that deserve an extended period of time to vote are active duty military. It is only for them that we should go out of our way to make sure that their ballots are cast and counted in the areas that they consider to be their hometowns, their residence. No one else deserves special treatment. You have the option for an absentee ballot if you know you will not be in the area to vote on a particular election date. If you're handicapped, you have the option to just go to the curbside and they will bring out 2 election judges for you so that you can then fill out your ballot in your vehicle and it will be turned in to 2 election judges, one from each party, and they will go in together and they will make sure that the ballot is put into the machine and cast. And this is done, of course, to prevent any fraud. But I just do not trust Thinkprogress, and I do not like it when the left keeps on pushing for more corruption. The one in 2012, when Obama got reelected, even though he did not win the state I reside in, I live in a college town. I saw so many out-of-state licenses from the students because I was a party supervisor and I was right next to the university. I was in a polling station literally right across the street from the university property. I could not help but wonder how many of those students cast ballots in their home state. And then they're also registered here. And then they cast another ballot. We need to, if anything, we need to make it harder to vote. We need to connect voting to your Social Security number. Just to make sure that there's only one vote for each legal citizen. And it will also shut down the voting of people that die once the Social Security agency finds out. Because then it can be communicated with the various clerks, county clerks, that that person is deceased and thus they can no longer vote. Just as when somebody registers in one area, it is bounced off the Social Security agency, and if they were registered to vote in another area, it is then forwarded to the previous area so that they are prevented from voting more than a single time. Just a little random idea, because even though I understand the system, and if I wanted to be active, I could probably arrange myself to vote probably a dozen times easily on an election day and just bounce around from district to district. I would never do that because it would ruin the integrity of the vote. And even though it is questionable almost every election to some degree, there's always a percentage of the vote that you can question, that you can throw out. I do not want to add to that problem. So yes, I say we don't need to make voting simpler. We need to make it harder. Sorry for going on and carrying on, but anytime a liberal starts thinking, I start reacting.